everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. We're going to be elevated today. My goodness. Today we have with us TJ Woodward. He is a best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and revolutionary recovery expert who has helped countless people through his simple yet powerful teachings. He is the author of the best-selling books, Conscious Being, Awakening to Your True Nature, Conscious Recovery, A Fresh Perspective on Addiction, and his most recent book, Conscious Creation, 5 Steps to Embracing the Life of Your Dreams, as well as the co-author of their accompanying workbooks. TJ is a featured thought leader on wholehearted.org. He is a creator of the Conscious Recovery Method, which is a groundbreaking and effective approach to viewing and treating addiction. Oh, welcome, TJ. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Paula. I'm happy to be here with you, excited for this conversation, and I'm just grateful for this moment with you.
Oh, grateful back. Thank you. First off, would you like to share any more of your background and maybe tell us kind of what prompted you to go in this area of speaking and writing and helping others?
Yeah, I mean, that we could take a whole hour on that, but I'll try to do a somewhat condensed version. And I'm going to start when I was right around the time I turned 40. I had kind of this awareness, and the question really came up, is this all there is, right? There has to be something more. What am I here to offer the world now? I had been through so many difficult times in my life, teenage years with addiction, early recovery, really trying to like make sense of the world. Ultimately, took myself on this quite remarkable spiritual path throughout my 20s. And by the time I was 40, I was asking, what difference can I make in the world? I was looking at the world and saying, there has to be a message that I can provide. So at that moment, I made a decision to change just about everything in my life. And it's a very long story, but my whole world collapsed. And I knew that that meant I was up to something great.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And so awesome that you came to that realization. Okay. So it was like, this is telling me I'm on a new path. Would you say that's what that was?
Yeah, and at that point in my life, I had come to trust my intuition more than my mind, and that took me, about 20 years to figure that one out. But my intuition has always led me in a more positive direction than something I can imagine in my mind. And so I kept having this inner knowing, and it showed up as something like, you're really supposed to be a spiritual teacher, you're really supposed to write books, maybe you're going to have a show. Like these ideas kept coming up, and I just sat with it for a year or so. And then finally, when it was, yes, it's time, that's when everything collapsed and then this new life began to be born within me.
Ah, I love it. I love it. Well, I would like to, a few things that you discussed that I just love that I'd like you to share is something like, first off, what is compassionate awareness? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, what we all most desire is love and connection. Now, that might be clouded by all sorts of different strategies that we've built up against that. Rumi says we're not here to seek for love, but to look at the barriers we put that really prevent us from experiencing it. And so we all want that love and connection, but so many of us have ideas about ourselves like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. And that prevents us from actually creating authentic and compassionate connection. One of the greatest benefits of my life falling apart after saying yes to this calling is I went through some pretty difficult experiences, and that allowed me to have more compassion for the people around me. I reached a place where I understood that there was a level of reality that was beyond right and wrong and good and bad. And that's really that place of compassionate connection. Judgment restricts, curiosity and compassion open us up to more possibilities.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And what a powerful message that is. When we go through challenges, it really does open us up to, I believe, gratitude for the blessings and the good, but also compassion and realizing others may be going through challenges that we may not even be aware of.
That's right. And, life on planet Earth is filled with love and joy and connection and heartbreak and sorrow. And it's just all this beautiful tapestry of the human experience. And it can all be used as transformation or tools for transformation. I think earlier in my life, I just wanted everything that I was calling good, and I wanted to be rid of everything I was calling bad. And, Buddha told us 2,500 years ago that's the definition of suffering, clinging to experiences we want and resisting or rejecting experiences we don't. And so, being in this place of openness and curiosity has allowed me to create greater connection with myself and others. And that's where the richness of life actually exists.
So, what exactly is that openness? Is that open to accepting that there's going to be the positive and there's going to be the negative, and you can get through that? What?
Absolutely. And the foundation of my work, all three of my books, someone asked me, what is the thread of all three of your books? And the thread is actually quite simple, and that is we came into the world as a whole and perfect being, and then we got programmed by life to believe we're less than, damaged. We have these ideas of lack and limitation. But essentially, regardless of what has happened or what we've done, there is still a place within us that's unharmed and unharmable. And to know that and to anchor in that allows us then to be in the world in a very different way. We're no longer rejecting, we're not no longer imagining that we're never going to have difficulties. On planet Earth, people come, people go, people die, there's all sorts of experiences that happen. When I'm anchored in my essential beingness, I can have a different relationship with the world.
I love that. Our essential beingness. Oh, so for someone that is listening or watching the show and they're saying to themselves, how do I connect with my essential beingness? What would you recommend?
Well, I would start with we're already connected. We might just not realize it. If you look at a very small child holding an infant in your hand, you wouldn't think, look at this little broken person. You would think, wow, look at this precious little being. That's the truth of who and what we are. And if you look at a very young child, what I call a pre-programmed human, which is about 2, 3, or maybe 4 years old, they're very much in the moment. As a matter of fact, everything they naturally do is what we're all seeking in therapy or recovery or a spiritual path. I want to feel my feelings. I want to be able to connect. I want to be wide open. I want to be able to love. So I would start by saying it's already who and what we are. It's not really about discovering our true nature. It's about remembering and then looking at what we need to unlearn so that we can remember this greater reality.
I love that. I love that. So would you say that taking the time to be in the moment over with less than what I wish I had done, or doubt, or regret, or what I wish I had, or I have to do this, then I'll be happy. I have to, being in the moment makes a huge, huge difference in how we move through the day and what we open up.
Yeah, and that's if I remember having this experience. I used to drive a Vespa in San Francisco many, many years ago, and I was on my Vespa at the corner, and this person had a young child on his shoulders, and my eyes connected with the young child, and as they went down the street and across the street and then up the other street, our eyes just locked, and we had this beautiful soul connecting moment. And I just remember feeling this is reality, right? Until this person's programmed, oh, it's not polite to stare, or our mind starts to develop and we start to do what you're saying, which is not be in the moment. It's the destination addiction. Once I get there, I can be happy, or I have my to-do list, or all these ideas that I have that prevent me from just being pure and present. And that place of pure presence, which is about living in the moment, but it's also even deeper than that.
Oh, oh, I love that. I love that. And you've discussed something you call rewriting the story. Tell us about that, TJ.
Well, we all have narratives about our life. A lot of it is unconscious. In other words, we might not be walking around with a conscious awareness that we believe we're unlovable or not good enough or less than, but we all come into the world as these whole and complete beings, and then we absorb and decide these big, huge things about ourselves at a very young age. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. Those become the operating system of our life. And it's more than just a story or a narrative, it's actually a frequency. So, yes, rewriting the narrative or rewriting the story is important. There's also a deeper awareness, and that is we actually go back to when we were younger and create or have different decisions about ourselves, and we can truly heal the past in that way. So, yes, we rewrite the story, we question the story, we challenge the thoughts that we have. The deeper work is to say, is it even true? I've been carrying around this lie about myself, and it's become the lens at which I look at life through.
Yes, yes. And myself, I'm very passionate about our frequency and where we reside. Our thoughts, negative, anger, resentment, shame, those are low vibration frequencies. Compassion, love, positivity are higher. And just where we reside in our frequency level, I would you say can make such a difference on our mindset and what we connect with and what we relate with.
I love the way you're framing it, Paula, and I think this is really important because all of these frequencies are available to us. And it's not that one is right or one is wrong. It's just what does it create when I live in one of these? So if we can take the judgment out of it, Krishnamurti says the highest form of human intelligence is to see ourselves without judgment, right? To look at ourselves and to ask what gets created when I'm living in the shame, what gets created when I'm living in the anger. If we think there's something wrong with that, it might be harder to move beyond it. But when we say, thank you for sharing, I also know that love and compassion are available to me. When we tune into these different frequencies, it creates a different reality. I also love that you didn't say we attract, because that's the common thing, right? We
Mhm.
attract what we vibrate
Mhm.
with. You said we choose it. Maybe not exactly in those words, and I love that because
Thank you.
if I believe I'm damaged or broken, I will walk into a room and my frequency will align with a situation or a person to confirm that, usually not in a conscious way. When I'm vibrating with love and curiosity and openness and compassion, I'm going to connect with that. So it's like we have the ability to choose differently as we tune into these different frequencies that are all available at every moment.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And that is a powerful message. I have always believed just the energy of walking into a room with a smile on your face, it can affect the energy and the vibration in the room.
Yes. And if
Fascinating.
yeah, and if you want to play with this, because I remember early, like in my 20s, I was doing all this fun stuff. Like I would go to every workshop, everything. And I went to this like energy healer, and I'm like, oh, what is this weird stuff? Right. And I went in with an open mind, but she invited us to experiment with our pets, just to like sit on the couch and to send them love, send them like enthusiastic energy and watch what happens. She instructed us not to move our bodies, not to change our face, but just to send different energies and then to like just be in the anger and see what happens. Animals respond to that. Animals are very attuned to the frequency and the energy. So, what I once thought was out there actually is quite common, and it's the way we actually operate. Animals can feel that, and we are animals. We're also spiritual beings, but we're aware of those energies and frequencies, even though our mind might try to override it.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And in the 25 years I've been a Reiki master, the animals I've given Reiki, wild animals, pets. I had a deer lay down in the yard when I was giving it Reiki.
That's so amazing. We had our dog was unadoptable because he was afraid of people, in particular men. And my husband and I are like, well, we just think we want to meet this dog, right? And so we went and met Cowboy, our now dog, and I just sat on the ground and I just sent him love, sent him love. And I didn't try to touch him. I just sat there and it took about an hour. And then he just started coming over. And eventually he just got into my lap. And the people at the rescue could not believe it because for 18 months they had been trying to adopt him. He had bitten people, he had jumped out of arms, he had barked at people, and they just couldn't believe it. And they're like, "What did you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm actually just sending him love."
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that just shows how they feel it. Oh my gosh. Well, TJ, tell us about your latest book, The Conscious Creation. What kind of is your theme with that? And what are you hoping to share with your readers? And what for you wish to see them gain from reading this great book?
Well, thank you. I've created a 5-step process, even though I said I'll never be that person who has the 5-step process, but it just came to me to use the acronym MOVIE, MOVIE, as a way to shift our life from unconscious creation to conscious creation. And it's really everything that we've already been talking about. The frequency that we are vibrating with and from create what we call reality. We have this projector and we're projecting onto a blank canvas. And so a lot of times when people think about creation, they think about goal setting or they think about New Year's resolutions or they might do vision boards. But there are steps to me that are really important in the beginning of that, what I call the clearing steps. So the M and the O are making peace with the past and overcoming core false beliefs. Knowing that if we're trying to create the life of our dreams, but we're still just reliving the past, or we still have these ideas about ourselves, what we're talking about here is frequency, right? So if I'm like trying so hard to create, but I still feel unworthy, that vibration will always end up creating what we call reality.
Wow. Yes. And so your book is giving them steps to understand that and work through that and then create the positive outcome.
That's that's right. And then the V, and I always want to, give credit where credit's due. My friend Michael Beckwith, I use V visioning, his visioning process, because a lot of times we think like for a vision board, what do I want to create? How do I put that on the board and I hold only that thought in mind? And I think that can be useful. Visioning is completely different. So once we've made peace with the past, once we've worked on these core false beliefs, we spend time in the silence and we ask inner wisdom to guide us, that intuition. We might call it the God voice or our source energy or our beingness, whatever word we use. We start to create from vision rather than what do I want to create. So that's that V step.
Love it. I love it. And would you say that trust can be a big tool in what we create and where we go? Saying, what we're envisioning, yes, I see it, and having trust that it's there already, it's coming. How important would you say trust is in all of that?
Well, Paula, of course, we're kindred spirits here. That's the
Mhm.
E in the movie, right? So I is intention setting. Once I catch the vision from this deeper place of inner wisdom, I sit with that. I ponder that. I allow that to come to the surface. And then when it becomes clear it's time to take action, I create concrete action steps. That's the intention. And then E is embodying the vision. And that's really what you're talking about because embodying it is just knowing that it's true, knowing that it's happened. And for me, and this is just for me, um, I think when I embody a vision that is going to serve others or it's attached to a deeper purpose, it's always greater. It's always so much easier. If I just think, well, I want a really nice house and I want a partner and I want a car, that's a lot of times what we do with law of attraction. There's this idea that if I can just get that, I'll be happy. But when we
Mhm.
vision and when we ask inner wisdom, we come to a place where we have a divine purpose or a deeper purpose, and then embodying that vision. Yes, it is holding that which we want to create has already manifested, but when we're tapped into a greater purpose, that becomes magnetic. And we know that, right? You and I know that that becomes magnetic, and then the situations and the people just seems like magic. They just fall right into our lives.
And when you say, TJ, really, it's really exciting what we can create by, you know, opening up that mindset and taking some of these steps that you talk about.
Yeah, and once we start to once I'll put it in the eye, once I started to realize how powerful this was and how it could be much easier than the struggle that I used to do, which was I need to manifest this. I was very like, oh, I need to manifest this. And I was holding it very tightly instead of, wow, I wonder what inner wisdom wants to reveal to me today. I wonder what the steps are that want to be born from this. And then I hold the energy and I hold the frequency. Life becomes so much fun. I love Dr. Sue Morter says life is difficult and a struggle until it isn't. And that's really
Mhm.
what we're talking about here. It's like, oh my gosh, this actually, life can be filled with awe, wonder, and curiosity, which is really how we came into the world. And it's ultimately who we are.
Oh. And something that I personally have been very passionate about is in this hand is what I'm envisioning, what I'm striving for and working on. And in this hand is for manifestation I may not even have dreamed of, new opportunities and connections.
Yeah, I love that because in my own journey, I catch a vision for something and then my mind will immediately say, well, I know exactly how this is supposed to look. And so the intention is, no, let me sit with the vision for a while. Maybe it's bigger than I ever imagined. I mean, I remember when I first started doing this process before I wrote the book, but I was using this process and developing it kind of in my own journey. I remember thinking, I know what I want. And my gosh, Paula, if I would have just gotten that, it would be so limiting compared to how my life has expanded. So when I tap into a greater vision, it's always greater than anything I could have imagined. And I always have the tools that I need to manifest it when I come from vision rather than, oh, I want this. Because the I want this can be a trap. At least it has been in my own life.
Yeah, because I can put out, I want it, I may not get it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
already have it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't already have it. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. Well, tell us a little bit about your podcast, TJ.
Well, actually, I currently don't have a podcast. I am
Oh,
intending to launch one this year.
okay.
I've had a TV show in the past. I had podcasts before they were called podcasts. So I used to have radio shows back in the day. I had a radio show on Unity FM. I've kind of paused that. I honestly I love being a guest on other people's shows like this, like conversations with you. I am intending to launch my podcast this year though, because I do love being in conversations with people who are playing in this energy of infinite possibilities. So at this point, it's a vision and it'll be fun to watch it manifest.
I love it. I love it. I'm so excited. Yes. Share with everyone your website, how they can learn more about you, connect with you, if you could, please.
Yeah, absolutely. tjwoodward.com. That's the best place to start. There you'll see my social links, Instagram and YouTube. I try to put out a video every week. I don't always, but I put out at least two a month, three a month. So tjwoodward.com.
I love it. I love it. We have about 4 minutes left in the show. What last message do you want to share with everyone? What do you want everyone to leave with today?
Well, Paula, when you talked about shame, it was something that I leaned into. In my book, Conscious Recovery, I identify shame as one of the contributing factors to addiction. Shame is something that can keep us feeling really stuck, right? Different than I have done something wrong, it's I believe I am wrong. So, what I want to say to anyone watching or listening right now is if you are experiencing on any level, I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, or the things that I have done will prevent me from living the life of my dreams, or the things that have happened to me. I can't possibly create the life of my dreams because of this trauma or the things that have happened. What I want to say to everyone right now is regardless of what has happened, regardless of what you have done, not only do you deserve a life of infinite possibilities, it's your birthright, it's who and what you are, and that you have the ability to unlearn all these ideas of shame and tap into this infinite beingness that you are. And not only do you deserve it, but it's yours right now.
Oh, and so letting go of that shame is that accepting it and just moving on?
For me, shame is usually based in early childhood traumatic events that haven't been processed. Now, what does that actually mean? Usually it means I didn't have the ability to actually feel it and move through it. Going back to the pre-programmed human, a pre-programmed human, a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, if they have an experience that's difficult, they feel it, they express it, they move on, they come back to their natural state of joy. So in some ways, it's just stuck energy. And so the deeper healing is, let me go back and care for my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old, my 5-year-old, allow myself to feel that so that I can actually move through it and go back to my natural state of joy. That's really the work for me.
Because I know, as I know for me, as I get older, there's times I think about things in the past. I wish I had done that different. I wish I'd known then what I know now. And that's really something we all work through, isn't it?
Well, I hope so. I hope I look back at my life and think I would do things differently, right? That's the wisdom of getting older or being on a spiritual path. I did what I did based on the beliefs I had. I came to a very simple conclusion, and that is I caused harm in the world when I believed I was broken. When I understood myself to be an infinite being, I was spreading love in the world. It became really simple. So yeah, I look back and think, oh my gosh, the things that I did based on the beliefs I had. I forgive myself, I have compassion for myself, and yes, I would do it differently.
Wow, I love that. I had never thought about it like that, really, as that being a wisdom, that yes, I did make mistakes or I did things I would do differently, but it's a wisdom and really a positive step in
That's right.
realizing that and moving on. Oh my
That's right.
gosh, TJ.
Compassionate awareness for our own journey. It's like we can, like that's bringing that conversation full circle because really, when I have compassionate awareness for myself and my own journey and the decisions I've made, then I can step into more possibilities rather than staying stuck. It becomes really simple.
Yeah. Oh, TJ, you are so awesome. And a big heartfelt thank you for all that you are doing for us and your beautiful books and your sharings. I am really grateful and I'm just honored to share you with my audiences.
Oh, thank you, Paula. It's been my pleasure, and I just want to say thank you for the amazing things you're doing in the world as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Positive energy in the world. Together
Yes.
we can, yeah. Love, hugs, and blessings, everyone. TJ, love, hugs, and blessings.